Hello and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. So today's topic is mindset, and the topic is you either do it or you don't. And we have, in addition, in the title, included the words brutal honesty. So I've gotten some feedback from people, and they kind of like some of the podcasts where we just kind of tell how it is. And I'm going to start doing some of those ones that have a little bit more of like a tougher message to them, kind of like a kick in the pants type thing. But I wanted to kind of preemptively warn people those ones by just calling them brutal honesty ones. So that way people are a little aware that it's going to be a kick in the pants. So if you're not in the mood for a kick in the pants, move on. Okay, do a different one. But what I wanted to get across, especially in this one today, is when you would like to do something, okay, whether it's achieving a goal, achieving a dream, or even just kind of doing something around the house, doing something for a friend. There's things that we would like to do, and then often we don't get them done, and we rely on excuses as a way to kind of give us a pass on whether we did or didn't do the thing. So it's like, oh yeah, I was going to do that, but blah 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 blah. So here's a good example real quick, and I'm going to pick on somebody, but that's what the title is, brutal honesty. So I had somebody come in, and they said that they didn't get their workouts in that they were supposed to do on their own. And their workout, I shit you not, takes 6 minutes to do. It's like a 6-minute rehab thing if they were to just do it correctly with the correct time frames that I gave them. Okay, we'll just say 10 minutes. We'll be kind, okay, and say 10 minutes. So in the last, say, week that we had not met, okay, so we had 7 days between the days that we met, okay, so we had a week. They were supposed to do 4 workouts. They only did 1. And they said the reason why they didn't get the other ones was because of a bunch of stupid bullshit that they said. So I'll spare you all the dumb stuff. But basically it's like, oh, I couldn't do this 10-minute routine because there was this 1-hour thing in my day. Okay, and to further this, and this will piss off more people, they're retired. They're retired, and they're doing it to try to get rid of some medical issues. So they're retired, meaning they're in complete control of their schedule. They're not even doing it for vanity. They're doing it for health reasons, to try to stay alive and just try to stay mobile and independent. But yet, they couldn't do a 10-minute routine because of stupid shit that they identified in their minds as being the reason why they didn't do it. They didn't do it because they chose not to do it. That's the reason. They chose not to do it. So they didn't not do it because so-and-so needed my help that day. Like, oh, I had to go to somebody's house and da-da-da-da-da, so that's why I didn't get my 10-minute workout in a 24-hour day, whenever the thing that they had to help somebody do maybe took 3-4 hours at most. What the hell did you do with the other 20 hours? The only reason why you couldn't do a 10-minute workout is because you chose not to do it. So there's no reason why we should give an excuse unless the excuse is a one-time thing used to identify what was holding you back. So an excuse is really what it should be used for is, this is the thing that I believe held me back. Now let me address it. So we identify the issue, we address the issue. That's what an excuse is. Okay, that's what it should be for. Is, I didn't do this thing because of this reason. Now that I'm aware of that reason being in the way, let me address that reason. If you give an excuse, and it's the same reason why you didn't do the thing you didn't do last time, and it's the same reason why you didn't do the thing you didn't do the next time, it's no longer anything other than you choosing not to do the thing. So, when I was growing up, there was a phrase that I learned at a very young age. And the phrase is, no one gives a shit. So when we were asked if we did something around the house, and we didn't do it, we would give an excuse. And then we were told that it didn't matter why we didn't do it. You either did it or you didn't. And if you didn't, it now still needs done. But it'll be done by someone else. So your laziness is now someone else's burden. When talking about things like chores, for example. Okay? You can even extrapolate this to that older person that I was talking about. I'm trying not to call them out by name. But their laziness might lead to an early death. And then their spouse has to live without them and be hurt knowing that that person didn't try as hard as they could have tried to stay alive, to be with their spouse for as long as possible. So your laziness will become someone else's burden. So no one gives a shit why you didn't do the thing you didn't do. No one. You either did it or you didn't. And if you didn't, it now still needs done, and someone else has to be accountable for it. So I learned this at a young age. It was very helpful, even though it doesn't sound like a very helpful thing. But I learned that no one gives a shit. So you can say why you didn't do it, no one gives a shit. And that really became clear when I started my business. My bills came every single month. So if I got sick and I missed a couple days of work and I maybe didn't make enough money, my bill collectors didn't give a shit. They still needed paid. I didn't get any clearance. I didn't get any forgiveness. They didn't, let me drop the bill down some. No, this was the bill. This is what we're charging you for what we've provided. We don't give a shit why you don't have the money. Find it and pay us. And that's how the world works. Okay? So same thing with clients. Maybe I had to cancel a session here or there because I got sick or I got overwhelmed or I got busy or I had to, like, for example, at a younger age, like in the business, sometimes my parents would ask me why I didn't get certain things done. So why am I going to the dentist? Or why didn't I get the doctors? Or why didn't I go fix this? Or why didn't I do that? And I was like, I can't go do it because I'd have to cancel clients. And it's like, well, just cancel clients. Like, that's fine. I'm like, no. If you cancel the client, they will leave you. Because you're showing them that they're not a high priority to you. And you're maybe giving them the opportunity to recognize that they don't need you. Now, I don't want someone to use me as a trainer just because they don't know whether they can do it on their own. I want them to be choosing to be with me as a trainer because I can help them. But the point is, if I were to continually cancel sessions, that they would recognize, they would feel that they're not getting the help that they want, and they would go elsewhere to find that help. No one gives a shit why you cancel. If they're not getting the help that they want, they'll go somewhere else. So I learned that in business. And also that people expect the things that they are paying you for at the time in which you had said that you would get it. And that's reasonable. Absolutely 100% reasonable. In no way are these wrong things. Okay? People don't give a shit why you don't get stuff done. Bill collectors don't give a shit why you don't have the money. In life, no one gives a shit. You either do it or you don't. That's it. Okay? So I was thinking about this in my own journey. I would like to. I started powerlifting, which is trying to get the heaviest squat, bench, and deadlift you can do for 1 rep. I started powerlifting in 2012. Now, over the whole time of my lifting weights, so I've been lifting weights now for 20 years. Okay? And in 20 years, I've actually had 17 muscle tears. I've torn 6 ligaments, and I've actually broken my collarbone and had to have surgery for it. Well, I actually broke it while I was bench pressing. So I've had a lot of injuries. A lot of these injuries were related to I was anorexic for a couple of years when I was younger. So I didn't really develop good bone and connective tissue health. So I had improper training, programming, and technique when I was younger. I didn't really know what I was doing. But I was fired up and I wanted to do my best, so I just beat the living shit out of myself and did things that were way too much. But I didn't know it at the time. And also I have sleeping issues due to some surgeries I had when I was younger that complicate the quality of my sleep. So, for example, I went and did a sleep apnea test, and you could score up to 30, and 30 would be like horrible quality of sleep. And you're supposed to do a test, I believe it was like 6 hours. Well, I scored 30 in like 2 hours. So it was not very good. And I found out that the sleep apnea masks don't help. And the issue is actually related to the surgeries I had when I was younger. So I would have to have a surgery now to address the issue to improve my sleep quality. So when I was talking with the doctor about my sleep issues and my throat issues, they were saying that my sleep quality was maybe around 50%. So if I slept 8 hours, I was really only getting about equivalent of 4 hours of sleep. If I slept 6 hours, I was only getting an equivalent of about 3 hours of sleep. So we're assuming that due to like the relationship of the anorexia, the old training techniques and stuff, I didn't really know what I was doing, and the complications with sleep quality, all that has led to those 17 muscle tears, 6 ligament tears, and some broken bones. So in powerlifting, though, I would love to get a 1,700-pound total. Okay, we're at my best squat, my bench, deadlift, my best squat, my best bench, and my best deadlift. And I would like those to add up to 1,700. And the reason why is when I was 18, so I'd been lifting weights since I was 16. When I was 18, I remember I tried like a kind of like my best squat, my best bench, and my best deadlift. And my best numbers, even with kind of really horrible quality, and maybe they possibly weren't even that like to count, would have been maybe 850. So 1,700 to me represents doubling what I could do when I was 18 years old. So I've gotten twice as strong, so and I'm really working hard, and it shows how much I could have progressed, like how much I did progress, okay? So if I could go from an 850-pound total at 18 years old to then a 1,700-pound total, if I could double my 18-year-old total, I think that would be pretty badass. So my best squat, my best bench, and my best deadlift to this date add up to 1,730 pounds. So, now that's in knee sleeves, by the way, so not wraps, knee wraps, just knee sleeves and a belt. So I have the ability to lift a 1,700-pound total, but I haven't done it in a meet yet, a competition yet, due to all the various injuries. Now, since I cannot do it in a competition, it cannot be solidified and quantified as being like a standard, meeting the standard. So therefore, even if I can lift a 1,730-pound total, but I can't prove it, that means I do not have my goal met. Now, can I rely on the excuses of the anorexia, the excuses of the sleep, the excuses of whatever the hell I might want to list, and say, oh, I really could do it if it weren't for blah, 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 blah? I could say that. But no one gives a shit. No one gives a shit whether you reached your goal or not to some arbitrary standard that doesn't count, that can't be proven. Okay? So I can't say I have a 1,700-pound total because it hasn't been proven in a meet. So therefore, I have not reached my goal. And just because of whatever issues I've had along the way, I don't just get the 1,700-pound total because I've worked hard at it. No one cares how hard you've worked. Everyone works hard. I don't get the 1,700-pound total because of the struggles that I've been through. No one gives a shit. Everybody's been through struggles. Nothing is given to you. You either earn it or you don't. You either do things or you don't do things. No one gives a shit why you don't get them. Now, this sounds incredibly mean. I'm aware of that. Hence why we kind of put the brutal honesty part into the title. Now, are there people who have extreme circumstances that have caused them not to reach their goals? Yes. But what the point of this is, the point what my parents were trying to teach me, is when they said no one gives a shit. You either do it or you don't. What they were trying to teach me was don't rely on your excuses. Don't stop at your excuses. So one of my favorite things I used to do back in the day was watch ESPN's E60 series. They had videos that you could find on YouTube, and it would be stories of somebody who faced extreme circumstances, but then fought through those extreme circumstances to still reach goals and reach a life that they were proud of, that still represented the top end of what would have been available to them. So, for example, there's somebody who maybe loved baseball, but they ran into a health complication and they could no longer play baseball. But they embraced it. They became an announcer. And they became an announcer for a major league sports team. They get to be on a news radio station. They kind of get to talk about their sport. So maybe they didn't get to play in their sport, but they didn't sit there and, wallow in their sorrow. They didn't cry, woe is me. They maybe had a phase like that. I'm sure they did. But they kept going. They didn't sit around the house saying, oh, I would have been a great baseball player if it wasn't for this. And then they sat there being mopey and miserable all the time. So don't be mopey and miserable. Get off your ass and work for something. Okay? Another example is there was a lady who was a cyclist, an Olympic level cyclist. One day when she was practicing with her cyclist team on the road, a van went through an intersection and hit her. Broke like 40 bajillion bones in her body, and she could never get use of her legs again. So she never got to be a cyclist. She never got to go back to the Olympics. She never got to try to win gold. She had spent her entire life training for that thing, and it was taken away from her. So through the rehab process, somebody introduced her to planes, and she found planes that you could operate with just upper body controls. And she started flying stunt planes. Okay, planes where you do barrel rolls and smoke signals and all this other craziness. And she eventually won the whatever the hell the championship is for the world for stunt planes. So, did she ever get to do the Olympics? No. But did she stop there and wallow in her sorrow? Did she stop at her excuses? No. She still kept moving, and she earned a life she could be proud of. That's the point I'm trying to get across. So I do understand that there are circumstances outside of our control that will take our dreams away from us at times. But if you stop in those moments, you will never be happy again. However, if you keep going, you may never reach what you originally intended. Okay? But you can be happy again. It may be a different happy, but you can still be happy. You can still feel fulfilled. You can still feel like you have purpose. You can still have a life that you're excited and proud of. Okay? You can make your life whatever you want it to be. Maybe the exact end goal is taken away from you, but can you still reach awesome things? Yes. So that's what I've learned in business, and it's helped me a lot, is reminding myself that no one gives a shit. It has been extremely helpful. So, for example, I think this is podcast number 468. So, for 468 days, with the exclusion of maybe 3 or 4, I've made a podcast every day. So, that's over a year that I've made this podcast and presented it to whoever would be kind enough to listen for 468 days. There were many times in those days where I was doing this stuff at like 2 a.m. trying to get it done. There are many times where I had to jam a couple of them into a day so I could go on a family vacation without having to take my computer and work. I was actually at my brother's wedding, okay, in another state, staying up till 3 in the morning to do podcasts to make sure this goal of reaching the podcast every day was met. And I have other goals in my life that I try to do every day. I'm not successful every day. I do make mistakes. I do have imperfections, okay, in my life. But if I accepted excuses, if I didn't realize that shit just needs done if you want to achieve your goals, if I don't accept that, okay, that the work needs done or you won't reach your goal. There's absolutely no way to not do the work and still get your goal. Your excuses don't mean shit. They mean nothing. Excuses are useful for one time to identify what is holding you back. If after that first time you do not address it, shut the hell up. It is a choice. It's no longer such and such is holding you back. So and so is holding you back. This life situation, that life situation. It's no longer any of those things. You are choosing to prioritize what you want in life. If you don't prioritize that goal, you don't truly want it. Or you want things more important than that goal. And that's okay, but you have to accept that. So maybe you prioritize a spouse over a goal. Maybe you prioritize a parent over a goal, a child over a goal. Maybe you prioritize a secured life, okay, a job over a goal that might risk that job. All of those things are fine. You're allowed to pick the life that you want. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you continually say, I wish I could do that, I wish I could do this, I would do it, but if it wasn't for this, I would do it if it wasn't for that. Leave those excuses behind. No one gives a shit. You either do the thing or you don't. That's all that matters. Okay? Now, I recognize, and I'm kind of putting myself out there in uncomfortable waters, making a podcast like this, because it has the chance to hurt people, okay, to upset people, to make some people mad. I hope that it doesn't. I hope that what it does, it makes you look into your life and say, of the goals that I have, that I'm not following through with, okay, I'm not doing what I should do. Do I need to reevaluate whether I really want those goals or not? And if I don't want them anymore, just let them go. And I can live a happier life just letting that goal go than feeling like a failure every day by not doing the work needed to reach it. But if you do want that goal, then you need to recognize that any reason whatsoever for you not putting the work in towards that goal doesn't matter. So when you think about listing the reason towards the goal that you really do want, if you really want it, okay? When you think about listing the reason why you didn't do the work that you were supposed to do, remember, no one gives a shit. You either do it or you don't. If you truly want your goal, find a way to get it done. Okay? So, I do hope this came across as a positive. I really hope it was. Okay? If I made you mad, if I pissed you off, feel free to email me and tell me off. Okay? But my goal with these podcasts is to just kind of speak some honest issues. Okay? Speak some honest truth to you guys. I just hope that if you truly want a goal in your life, you'll put down your excuses and you'll find a way to get done what needs done. Okay? So, if you have a goal, if you truly want to reach that goal and you're tired of relying on excuses as to why you have yet to reach that goal, email us at brutalirongym@gmail.com. I promise I'll help in some way. Okay? I'll find a resource or we'll find something that'll help you reach it. So if you're tired of having only excuses rather than results, please, please, please reach out. I sincerely, truly appreciate every single person that listens to this podcast. And I want you to live the healthiest and happiest life available to you. So if you need help to be your happiest, reach out to us. We're happy to help. Okay? Cool. So if you like the podcast, please share it with family and friends. The more people we help, the happier the world will be. Also, if you like this information, you can find more from us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Brutal Iron Gym. And if you have any questions, feedback, or suggestions, we'd love to hear from you. The podcast is for you, so we want to know what you want to learn about. You can tell us at our email at brutalirongym@gmail.com. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening. And thank you for watching.